Welcome, guys, to another podcast of Making Feria. I have a really good friend here. I actually met her through the Rotary Club of Montebello, Paulina, and she's with MT Evictions. This is her business. Again, good to have you on the podcast. Thank you so
Likewise. Thank you
much.
for having me.
Yeah,
It feels so important.
yeah. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So tell us a little bit about your background and maybe how you started your entrepreneurial journey.
Definitely. Well, I'm originally from Mexico City. I came here at the age of 15. So I feel like when you migrate from a different country at a later age, you come with a different hustle, aspirations, and whatnot,
Yeah.
right? So I started working with attorneys since I was 15, right when I
15.
arrived. Why? I wanted to make money, help my family and whatnot. And from there, I just ended up in a perfect field, which is the law field. And
Okay.
I just evolved from there.
Wow. Okay. So this was back when you got here at 15?
1996.
15. So did you go into school or anything?
Well, I
Or?
was going to Sure High School during the time, which
Okay.
is just down the street. From Sure High School,
Yeah.
I landed a job on Beverly Boulevard, which at walking distance from high school. So
Hmm.
after school, I used to go and work probably till 10 p.m.
Uh-huh.
doing workers' comp with the workers' comp attorney.
Workers' comp. Okay. So you did like a lot of the
A
paperwork.
lot of paperwork, filing, data entry, basic high school internship type of job.
Awesome.
And from there, I met a lot of people you meet. And
Yes.
one of them was an attorney that was going to purchase an eviction company.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to the field.
To the field. Okay. All right. So, okay. So you were learning with the attorneys. You got a job and everything. Everything was going great. When did you decide that you wanted to start your own company?
When I was depressed and broke. No.
Yeah, I think we're all
When I
at
hit
that
rock
one point.
bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, I had been working for this attorney for 10 years. He really didn't pay me what I was worth, as normally what happens.
Yeah.
I was there for 10 years, built his business, and each time I would ask him for a raise, he had an excuse. And I almost feel like that was the biggest blessing for me, because if he would have given me the raise, if he would have done the ideas I had, I would probably still be there and not have my own business.
Yeah.
But he kept on shutting me down, like, no, we don't need to do that. No, we don't need to go do presentations.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't need to open Saturdays. And then he made a comment like, oh, yeah, you helped me put my kid through college. And that's when it kind of like the golden nugget turned on, or the light bulb, when I'm like, wait, I'm still living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building somebody's business,
Yeah.
and I helped somebody go through college. So that's when
Wow.
I realized, okay, I need to go and do this on my own. And it was a difficult decision. It's not easy because, like I mentioned, I was paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I had decided to divorce my ex-husband. I had a daughter that was 5 years old at the time, and I was pretty much a single mother doing this venture on my own, which is probably the difficult thing to do financially.
Yeah.
And after 6 months of crying about it, I decided, you know what? What am I attached to? This is not my apartment. This is not my business. I'm going to sell everything. And if all fails, I go into a garage and live with a friend
Or something,
or,
right?
or something. So I knew once I sold everything, I had 3 months to make it.
Wow.
And those 3 months, you know,
You
I
burned all the boats.
I went door knocking, as we say, offered free presentations, offered free portfolio review, and that's how I started building a clientele.
So, all right, cool. So you burned all the boats. You decided to take this huge risk, and so you ended up opening the company, right?
Yes, I ended up opening a Starbucks, and then eventually realized I needed a small little office, which I did, opened, and from
Well,
there I just needed help. So I hired one person, then hired a second person, and then each time I had to expand. So I moved 3 times total because I needed a bigger space, until the point where I'm like, okay, that's it. We're in a place where I need to purchase and then have my remote team.
yeah.
So now 10 years later, it's 13 of us,
Wow.
and we have, thankfully our permanent home here in Montebello.
Very,
And yeah.
very nice. So, when did you feel like it was time to hire employees? Because I feel like a lot of business owners or people who are self-employed, they wear multiple hats, they're super busy. But when is it that you make that jump to finally hire, employees?
That is a difficult thing to acknowledge because, especially at the very beginning, you're in need of money. You have an overhead. So we always think an employee is another overhead. But if you hire the right people, they're an asset and they're multiplying your money. So example, you start paying somebody minimum wage and immediately you see that they're worth more and they produce more. I always tell my new employees, you're gonna make as much money as you want to make depending on how valuable you become. So if they're start showing that they could do more,
Yeah.
they're gonna get paid more. More is gonna get produced because of their hard work. So it's not only valuing someone, but once you get that person, also increase that value for them too. So it could be a partnership and not just a employee employer relationship.
So the first year in business, what were the first challenges that you had, starting off? Besides, you got to get the employees too, but what other challenges did you have?
Well, there's always going to be a volume of obstacles, right? And for me personally, was in the field I'm in, it's male ran, especially white males,
Yeah.
older, and I was young. I was in my early 30s, and a Latina without an attorney degree. However, I was smart enough to get a UDA license. That means I was able to get licensed by the state to do what I do. So I bypassed going through the legalities.
Wow. And
However,
it's called a UDA?
UDA, which means unlawful detainer assistant. So unlawful detainer is the fancy word in the legal world for evictions.
Okay.
So, but I was early enough. I recognized I needed partnerships. So I did start doing a lot of partnerships with attorneys. So currently, this is where our forte is with MT evictions. We're not just a paralegal office. We have attorneys. We do jury trial. We do discovery. We do all the heavy duty work at a fraction of the price as well because we do keep a lot of work in house. So the biggest challenge the first year was getting established, being recognized in the courts as a person that knows what they're doing. So I had to work extra hard and prove myself and eventually establish the reputation of, oh no, MT Evictions knows what they're doing.
Okay. So yeah, you had to build everything from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Did you get any funding at the beginning, or because a lot of people think if I had money, I could make more money, and I
Yeah.
definitely don't agree with that. If you don't know how to make money without money, then you can't make money with money. So how did
That
you
is
start?
100% with zero.
With zero.
I couldn't get a loan because I didn't have papers.
Yeah.
Became a citizen later on. Um, my family doesn't live here, so this is where I sold everything and I came up with $6,000 selling
Okay.
jewelry, clothes, everything. And
Everything.
$6,000 at the time, my rent used to be 1,500 per month. I knew I had enough for it gave myself 3 months. So yeah, I worked with what I had.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations where I knew if I had to make it. Other than that, I was going to be in the corner selling oranges and making juices, juicing for people. I don't know.
Yeah. There's no going back, right? Once you
Yes.
commit 100% to
Yeah.
starting something, a business or whatever, there's no going back. So, there's always that fear, like, oh yeah, like you said, I'm gonna have to go back to sell oranges or get a job and so forth, right? So,
Yeah.
okay,
Failure is no longer an option when you have children too.
yeah, and you commit, yeah, you can't let them
Yes.
down. So, what are some keys to your success? Like, what do you think are the top, maybe top three or something?
That's a good question. I think the main one is I do not spend beyond my means,
Okay,
which is important because in business it fluctuates. Some months are great and some months are not. And you have to be ready for the good and the bad. So
yeah,
definitely being conscious about your spending and budget. Example, at the very beginning, there's no way you would catch me with a designer bag. I had no business buying a designer bag if I
Yeah.
didn't have a house yet. And it's a mistake that I see a lot of people do. They get all the brands and the fluffy uh, persona and the materialistic items before their homes or their paid car or whatnot.
Hmm.
At least that's in my
Yeah.
opinion, my experience. The second thing is also invest back in your business and
Yeah.
invest back in your people.
Hmm.
So I've always liked to have an environment where clients come in and they feel comfortable. They feel like it's a nice space. And yeah, all of that doesn't come without a price tag.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely beautiful office you have right here, and definitely feels comfortable.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I definitely agree. In the beginning, you don't want to be buying fancy things. I remember I had my little Dell computer, and I literally had like a little 10 by 10 office, probably like one of these little offices here where I started. I started seeing patients, and I was like, man, I don't even trust myself in here. And I just had my license and my little office, one desk, and I would do the test there, the fitting there, see the patient
Wow.
there, and I was like, I don't know, I wouldn't trust myself, but people trusted, and I produced results, and little by little, scaled the business.
And I think that's important what you just said, produce results. If we're not producing results, there's no way we could invest back in the business, right?
Yeah,
So definitely, and producing the results for the client, because if the client doesn't see the results, there's no way they're going to come back or refer someone.
correct.
So it's definitely investing in your knowledge, education, in order for the clients to see the value.
Yeah, yeah, have a good product, know your product or service like a master, right?
Yes.
And then, so let's talk a little bit about marketing. So, how did you get your first clients?
Oh, that's a good question. I've,
Because,
I've honestly never marketed in my life
yeah,
besides the occasional Montebello reporter with Sarkis.
yeah.
Uh, really, it's been word of mouth,
Hmm.
and it's been my first five clients. I remember it was through presentations. They took a chance on me. They're still my clients to this day. And a lot of them were from my old job where I used to work. They
Hmm.
looked for me. So a
Hmm.
lot of clients looked for me, and I had a coworker there that told me, Paulina, they don't want to work with us. They're looking for you. I'm just gonna send them your way. Because my biggest thing at the beginning is I didn't want to step on anyone's toes, or
Hmm.
so to speak. So I was not going to tell any clients that I was going to open my own because I didn't want to hurdle my boss's business.
Yeah.
And I think eventually, like now, he retired and he sent me all his clientele. So I
Wow.
think he respected me for that.
Yeah.
And it is very important to, when you're doing business, that you're doing ethically, because eventually you'll get it back tenfold.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. You definitely want to, you know, not burn the bridges
Oh
that you've had
yes.
before, right? So, yeah, yeah, that's excellent. So, yeah, word of mouth. Once you have a good service, good product, you
They'll
take
tell
care
their
of your
friends.
clients. They'll tell your friends, their family.
Yeah.
I remember when I started my business, like I used to be on the south side of Montebello. I don't know if you're familiar with Slauson and Telegraph.
Yes.
So it's a very industrial area. So I was inside this plaza. So there was zero walking traffic. So yeah, like just like you, I had to go to senior centers, retirement homes, do presentations, educate people on hearing aids, and that's how I got my clients. And then I started doing El Aviso magazine. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yes.
El Aviso magazine, started running ads there, and little by little,
Yeah.
you know, started getting my clientele. And now social media is what's big right now
I
because
need to definitely try
you can
social
reach people
media.
like this, like so many people. It's been pretty wild lately. Yeah,
Wow.
been
Wow.
growing. Um, yeah, just this last week, I got like 500 followers off of this post that went viral.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Congrats.
going good. Thanks. Little by little, we're chipping at it. But what are you doing right now for marketing?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Well,
My
we're
social
kicks.
media, life
Oh
just
well.
started
Well, you got
about a
your
year ago, so I'm learning how to embrace it. And honestly, it's because I've never had to. The business just did this on its own.
awesome.
And the times I did advertise, I didn't get quality clients.
Wow.
They would be cheap, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we do have a membership clientele
Mm-hmm.
where they pay us a monthly fee to be available for clients.
Yeah.
So that alone keeps us very,
It's
very
a
busy.
membership that does what?
We have a membership service. It's called Empty Evictions Membership Services.
Yeah.
If we charge a flat rate monthly, they get appointments with the team. They have a link to book appointments. We do portfolio review, and we've had clients in that program for 4 or 5 years now.
Gotcha.
So, and every month we're adding new clients to our portfolio, our monthly membership portfolio. So with them alone, we really don't need to bring in additional business.
So Paulina, so you mentioned, your business is mostly word of mouth. It's definitely blowing up. Tell us a little bit about how you do your business, maybe a little bit about the customer service, or how do you do your service so well where people just spread it word of mouth?
That's a great question. So I am in the legal field. In the legal field, a lot of offices, it's hard to get a hold of them. They don't give responses to their client, or the clients are lost. They don't know what's going on. So what we do, we're king and updating our client throughout every step of the way, providing them an email through each step of exactly this is where we're at, and this is what to expect, and this is where you're going to hear back from us. So I'm huge in follow through. I'm huge in organization, and that's the biggest feedback I get from my clients. Wow, you're the first office that actually calls me before I call them, or you're the first office that gives me statuses with, and I know where we're at. Also, we're very empathetic with our clients. If we could avoid an eviction and we could problem solve their scenario before taking it to court, we're doing buyouts and legal buyouts so they could withstand in case a client gets sued or whatnot. So I'm really thinking about the customer as if it would be my parents, as if it would be my tío, my tía. They need hand holding at times,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody wants to go through a legal procedure. So we could
Mm-hmm.
avoid it. We definitely avoid it. And I know that that is something that a lot of offices out there are not doing, really, because they're more in the procedural side of things, and I'm more in the taking action, proactive problem solving ahead of time.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, just, providing good service, keep your clients up to date, and giving them some realistic expectations, right?
Exactly. Sometimes they expect a certain outcome because someone else told them, oh no, it's easy, and we're going to do this in no time, and it's going to be X amount of money. And later on, they get the real bill and they get the
Mm-hmm.
real reality, and they're
Yeah.
not prepared. So I have lost some clients that think, oh no, this is going to be too much or too long, because we're very realistic with the clients.
Mm-hmm.
They leave and then they come back with their mess of, oh, this turned sour. I'm like, yes, this is normally what happens. But at least
Mm-hmm.
they come back and they know that I didn't lie to them. Maybe somebody else did, but I won't, and I will help them through their mess.
Definitely. Okay. So, Paulino, so with your 20 years of experience, what do you think, what would be the advice you'd give yourself back then?
Definitely not to be afraid of losing money. It comes with being learning and being an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you're going to be an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, sometimes we make decisions that are financially expensive. I call that our college life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where
Yeah.
you're gonna pay for it, either paying someone for to educate you, or you're gonna make the mistakes and you're gonna get educated and learn, right? And at the beginning, when I would make a bad move in business and I would lose money, it would hurt me, and it will emotionally put a lot of stress. And then I realized, like, no, if I wouldn't have made that bad move, I would have not learned A, B, and C, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of accepting that in life you're going to make financial mistakes, and it's okay,
Yeah.
and not be attached to the outcome but rather the lesson. Sometimes I come across people that I want to learn why they failed so I don't make those mistakes.
True.
Another thing I would have told myself is, don't stress. Every big or small problem will eventually get resolved. And sometimes we get stuck in a problem because it is emotionally draining versus, okay, that's the problem. What solutions could I look for? And those are the main key points I would go back and let myself
Gotcha.
know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree that you're gonna make mistakes, whether if it costs you financially or whatever, but definitely learn, take notes, don't repeat them, and just keep moving forward. Now, you did mention don't stress. Do you have any tips about not stressing? Because
Yes.
it's hard to say don't stress, but when you have a problem that just bugs you and it's just in your
Yeah.
brain there, it just doesn't go away. What would you do
You know,
to
I
distract yourself
I
maybe a little bit?
learned how to disconnect
Yeah.
from moments.
Okay.
And my daughter, which she's now 18 going into college,
Yeah.
she's the one who gave me this feedback.
Uh-huh.
I was at home, cooking, doing things, and she told me, "You're always in work mode, mom. I don't get to see mom." And that really landed to me because I
Yeah.
realized, wait, I'm at home, I'm with my daughter, but I'm still not spending quality time because I'm worried about this case, I'm worried about this problem, I'm worried all the time. And my daughter is now getting an image of me of not being present, even if I'm present. So from that moment on, once again, sometimes in life you get light switches. That
Yeah.
was my light bulb where I'm like, okay, once I'm at home, whatever fire is happening at work, I don't care about.
That's true.
And once
Yeah.
I'm at work, whatever fire is happening at home or with my personal life, it's irrelevant. And that really helped me disconnect from emotion and stress. The
Yeah.
stress will be there, but just knowing that, the problem, it's going to get resolved. The solution will come.
That's true. Yeah. The storm eventually will end. Yeah, I mean, even for myself, sometimes like same thing happens to me where I'm just like in work mode 24 hours, and that's gonna happen to all of us, especially entrepreneurs. We just work around the clock. But yeah, recently I've been considering getting a second phone. I've always seen people sometimes they have a work phone and a personal phone. I'm like, I've always just had one phone, but
Oh
now,
no, I had to make that switch years ago for my sanity. I would
yeah,
get text messages at 1 p.m. What's going on with my case? Are
yeah,
you serious?
yeah,
But in the client's mind, they are thinking about it. They want to get it
want
out.
to get information.
They
Yeah,
don't really think that you're a human being with a life.
yeah,
And that's when I realized I have to separate my life and put boundaries because clients are not gonna, to them, this is their emergency, right?
yeah,
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 definitely. I do
yeah.
recommend you getting a second
A
phone.
second phone, or just locking up the phone in the vault after hours and be like, if you got anything, hit me up during business hours because we
Yeah,
are out.
yeah,
There's only so
yeah.
much you could take. So,
Agreed.
good. So, let's talk a little bit about mentorship. So, who were your first mentors at the beginning, or, somebody you looked up to?
Yes, definitely. The first person was my tax guy. I saw him era movido. Could I speak Spanish?
Yeah, 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 I'm sure.
I like the way he moved, and I realized, like, oh, I want to learn from you. He was making business moves I had not seen before. And there's people around you, for the most part, that you see and you admire, and you see that they're doing something that's working. I always like to ask, like I asked you, I want to know anything that I may not know, and I may teach you something that you may not know, right? And
Correct.
one of the things is being humble about learning and understanding what you do know and what you don't know. And I feel that at times there's people that feel like they know it all, and once you realize, you're like, wait a minute, that they don't know it all, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then you realize, okay, he's not a very good mentor. But it's really looking around you, they're everywhere.
yeah.
Even the documentary stories I see about different entrepreneurs, you pick up what works for you and then you eliminate what doesn't work for you.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're constantly changing. Like for me in the beginning, growing up, I would see my uncle, one of my uncles, he always drove a Lexus. He would always treat the family on outings, even vacations. And I was like, man, he's doing something right. So I knew I was like, I gotta ask him what to do once I get older. And then eventually he taught me, he ran a business, he did hearing aids, and eventually I learned from him, opened up my business. And, throughout the years, as you start growing,
You outgrow your
you outgrow
mentors.
your mentor, and
Yeah.
then you want to find a new one that's even doing bigger things.
Yes.
But you always want to get somebody
Yes.
that has what you want and is doing
Yes.
what you want to do, right? You don't want to just get some random person or ask somebody who's not even in business and you're asking for advice. You want to ask advice from someone who is doing, like I said, what you want to do,
And
right?
that's important because there's times that I get unsolicited advice from people that are not running a business giving me business advice, and sometimes I need to look at, wait, where are your results? Because if they have the results, you're going to ask for that,
Yeah.
right? If they don't have the results, you're going to be like, oh, what are you talking about? What do you mean I'm not doing this right?
Exactly. So if you're looking for a mentor or you don't have a mentor that's local, how would you find somebody?
One thing that worked for me is workshops, personal growth workshops. So somebody that is always looking to grow will also do these type of workshops. That has been an amazing source of mentorship and relationships, connections with people I would not find in East LA Montebello.
Yeah, yeah. Networking, right? Yeah.
Networking definitely in a different level.
Yeah.
So there's times from time to time, every 3 to 4 years, I'm like, okay, it's time for me to do a workshop, just because I like that continuance challenge. It's almost like going to the gym, right?
Yeah.
If we don't exercise our mind or challenge ourselves, we it's easy to become
Comfortable.
comfortable. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
thank you for that word.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. I'm always constantly getting in those rooms, right?
Yes.
Higher level rooms. At the beginning, back in, I remember it was like 2018, I first started by going, have you heard of Grant Cardone?
Yes.
So I went to his 10x growth conference in
Uh-huh.
Vegas. Then I went to his third one. I think it was in Miami. And every year I try to go to something different. Lately I've been going to Ryan Panetta's Wealth Con in Vegas. It's mostly around real estate, but it's also general business. And then I also found here locally in Los Angeles, I work a lot with Albert Preciado, and he has his yearly conference called Driven. So I went to that one last year. It's pretty good. Like you said, you want to get in those rooms where, you're linking and building relationships with like-minded
Right.
individuals, right? Because you guys get to network, share ideas, and yeah, right?
Yeah, definitely. And exchange golden nuggets. Sometimes they know something or they're doing something you've never heard of. I've also gotten great clientele from the leadership programs.
Yeah, yeah,
I personally did one that's called MITT. It stands for Mastery and Transformational Training.
yeah.
And it's levels. I did 3 levels of it up to the leadership course. And it's definitely challenging, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and just another quick tip, even a book can be a mentor, right? I've read a bunch of amazing books, especially from Grant Cardone. Have you heard of the book Sell or Be Sold?
No.
That's a really good book. That's like my business Bible.
Okay.
Sell or be sold,
I'm gonna check it out.
be obsessed or be average. I'm currently listening to Nine Finger Mindset by Brandon Dawson. It's an amazing, amazing book. Talking about mindset, it really is about your mindset too. So, what advice can you give us, or on mindset? How do you
Oh,
get your mindset right? To
what seems to work for me is associating myself with people that are doing these type of workshops or groups. So I did just recently join a book club.
Okay,
So
nice.
I'm going to suggest some of the books that you're giving. And the reason I reached out to something different like a book club is because you have people that are in the same mindset of growing, of self-realization, self-growth, and sometimes you don't have that in your immediate circle.
Yeah.
But and for me, I feel so blessed to be able to go to that setting to find those resources that I need and connect with females that are in the same boat that I am, so to speak, right? What else? There's a lot of
So you
different.
guys read physical books?
Yes,
That's good.
audiobooks with the physical book, and sometimes there's a movie, so we try to coordinate all of them.
Oh,
One of my
nice.
favorite books that has also been my Bible. There's two. One is, of course, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like that is just genius. I
Uh-huh.
read that to my daughter when she was little as a bedside, and she still remembers
Uh-huh.
certain of the things that she picked up from the book.
Yeah.
Another one's from Sam Walton. He is the creator of the Walmarts.
Yeah.
And that really gave me the business perspective of how to scale and grow because at the beginning I had difficulty accepting the scale and the growth because I just opened up my own business so I could be financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, I have a team. And it was hard to shift into employee, employer mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And that book definitely supported.
Nice. So yeah, we were talking a little bit also. You did mention something about circle. So how important is your circle? How do you know who to hang out with, who to keep out of your circle?
Ooh, that's a good one because we
Mm.
have a lot of people around us, which
Uh-huh.
could be friends and family that we love, but that we
Yeah.
could only get so much of them, right? So
Yes.
at this point in my life, I've had to make the realization of there's certain people I could not spend so much time with, although I love them because they're energy draining or as much information as you give them, they're never going to get unstuck.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've
And
ran
that's
into
just
that
the
one.
reality of
Um,
some people that are not ready. It's really about being ready, and not everybody is ready at the same time. So, what I've
correct.
done is I keep those friendships, see them once a quarter,
Mm-hmm.
really limit my time. And then the circles that fulfill me and give me the energy, I'm seeing those circles weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really important to re-energize my energy. Because at
Definitely.
this point, every circle, it's an exchange of energy you give or you receive, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Totally agree. Someone who's just asking for information constantly and they don't take action is just draining and it's like they don't do
Yes.
anything. It's like I'm gonna start charging you for this advice. But
Seriously, no, and it took me a while to understand that it was okay to say no. Doesn't fit in my schedule right now,
mm-hmm.
right? Because we get
Yeah.
so guilty about saying no to people that we've known for so long,
Mm-hmm.
but it's necessary.
Yeah, yeah. Have to. Anything else you want to bring up by any
Uh,
chance?
maybe I think the biggest obstacle an average person or the general person has is fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you come across fear every day in some decisions,
Yeah.
right? And it's realizing that even if it's scary,
Mm-hmm.
do it anyway because you don't know what's in the other side of fear and the other side of the mountain. And
Yeah.
it could be a learning experience, it could be financial success, it could be personal growth. So understanding the fear is normal and it's part of life, but not allowing that to be your obstacle. Just be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure we hear that all the time. Uh, just no matter what, do whatever it takes to get to the top of the hill, even if you have to take 10 breaks
Mm-hmm.
and see
Definitely.
what's on top of that hill.
Awesome. No, that's good. Good stuff. Yeah. We did touch a little bit on like being a parent, but being an entrepreneurial mother, parent. So how again? So you did mention that you cut off the phone when you get home, but what else can you give us as far as like work life balance? As far as when it comes to your kids.
Especially as a mother, I don't know about the male role,
Mm-hmm.
but the female role,
Yeah.
for me, especially as a single parent, for the majority of my daughter's life, is picking up from school, taking her to school in the middle of a work day. And the
Mm-hmm.
only way that I was able to create balance is organization with the calendar. As much as I was fighting not to be on schedule, not being
Yeah.
on schedule
Yeah.
backfired, right? Because then I had my daughter calling me like, "Wait, you forgot about this event?" I'm like,
Mm.
"Ah." So
Yeah.
definitely nowadays my 2 3 months are planned in advance just so I don't forget, okay, my daughter has graduation or she has this practice, she has that practice, and then I book my appointments around my kid's schedule. And
Nice.
that's another thing I like to offer to my employees as well, flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility, because I feel like it's very important to have the opportunity of flexibility
Mm-hmm.
without feeling guilty. Because
Mm-hmm.
as a worker
Yeah.
in any field, you're always going to feel guilty leaving work, and then you're always going to feel guilty leaving your child. So it's having the conversation that it's okay. You need this time in both ends, right?
Very true. Yeah, yeah. So you give your daughter like a little calendar, or she has access to a
We have
calendar,
we
or
both. I got her used to the Gmail calendar, so she needs to send me invitations
oh,
when she
okay.
has sleepovers or friend hangouts, and or her schedule needs to change. This way, I'm aware, and it automatically goes into my calendar, and
That's
then I
good.
work around, and that
Okay.
has been great for us.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Something I might need to start implementing
Yeah.
with my daughter. Now that she's getting older, she's 12. And she's like, Dad, we got to spend some quality time. So I'm like, okay, all right. Well, we got to start planning in advance, right? So
Yes.
I think that's the critical part, planning it.
And being okay realizing that you're on a schedule, because I fought it for quite a while.
Yeah.
I Because I'm such a free spirit at outside work. I just want to get up and go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that had to stop.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I learned just recently, because once again, I wasn't prepared to be an entrepreneur. It's everything learning experience as I go. It's key to have relationships with people, with your clients, with clubs. For example, the Rotary Club. I had been saying no to the Rotary Club for 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
because I'm too busy, right? And
Uh-huh.
then I realized, you know what? I'm always going to be too busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just need to make my plate bigger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the way you
Correct.
make your plate bigger is organization.
Mm-hmm.
And joining Rotary has
Yes.
been one of the best experiences for myself and my business, because it's not only giving me social time with entrepreneurs, with people that are leveling up. Most of them are, retired, and there's so much that to learn from them and how they
Mm-hmm.
got to where they got.
That's true.
And that also has given me a lot of connections. That's how I met you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I
Exactly.
met a lot of the quality people that we have in our city,
Mm-hmm.
that we are socializing, but at the same time, we're doing things for the community. So that's actually, I wish I would have done it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But mentally, I wasn't ready because I was so caught up and busy
That's
in my
true.
business. But that
Yeah.
has actually expanded my quality of business.
Definitely. Yeah. So just planning your schedule, making sure you're working efficiently and, make time for those important things, whether
Yeah.
if it's family, networking, clients,
The
all that good
community
stuff.
outreach.
Community.
For me, although I started as doing presentations
Mm-hmm.
to get my name out there and to get business, now really I do it to give back. Because information, especially in my field, it's not out there for the landlords community, for the investor community. We have to get out there and find this information.
Yeah.
So I do about 2 presentations a month just to educate, and that fills my cup,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just so satisfying getting out there and educating
Mm-hmm.
on a subject that people don't have the resource around
To
them
get that
to get.
information out.
Yes,
All right. Well, thank you so much, Paulina, again, for taking the time to be on the podcast. Just give the audience, a little bit of the detailed services of what you do and where they can find you.
definitely. So, Paulina Ramirez-Martignon, I'm with MT Evictions, and we're the landlord's ally. And what we provide is consulting information, investor information. When you're going to get a property and there's tenants, what to foresee and how to best be prepared, how we could problem solve. If a landlord did illegal rent increases or an illegal unit, how to get out of it. We help landlords through all the complexities of the law. We do rental agreements, credit checks, we do legal notices. We, of course, do the legalities of the eviction notices and the actual evictions for commercial and residential law and the landlord side of things. And the reason why we focus on the landlord side of things is because there's a lot of free resources for the tenants, but not for the landlords. And this
Gotcha.
is why I am the landlord's ally.
Awesome. Awesome.
We are located in Montebello on beautiful Whittier Boulevard. And you can find us on Instagram, MT Evictions.
Empty evictions, guys. So Definitely give her a follow or tag her or put her social media handle up here. And again, thank you so much, Paulina.
Thank
And
you.
appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys in the next Making Feria podcast.